For the next few minutes, I want your undivided attention, your true attention, completely devoted without any distractions whatsoever. In this experiment, you cannot go on another device as you're watching this video. You cannot pause this episode either and watch Netflix or do anything else. Can you do that? Do I have your undivided attention? Of course, in these days, attention is very difficult. It's hard to capture anyone's attention because some people say because of all of the anxiety when it comes to social media, when it comes to our devices. But I'm going to show you something. If you are a writer, I'm going to give you a tool that you could use. Now, this tool is not a sophisticated software. It's not a new technology. It's not any of those things. It's something that you have been born with. You give this all the time. It's your currency, and that is attention. Now, when I said that sometimes we are distracted, of course. When I watch videos, I am just like you. I rummage through other things and I think, what else can I be doing? But this steals our attention, doesn't it? This device right over here. Yeah, the smartphone. It's wonderful. It brings us so much joy, doesn't it, of this one single device. But in the wrong hands, it could be a death nail to the creative soul. It could take you away from what you really enjoy. It steals everything. I'm not saying that it's a doomsday technology, but if we are to rely on it way too much, as sometimes I do, then our attention is divided. You see that all the time. You go everywhere and you see people walking down the street, and I'm one of them, typing away, looking at the screen. You go to restaurants. You see families. They're supposed to be enjoying a great meal, but what are they doing? They're texting. They're on Facebook. They're on Instagram. They're on watching YouTube shorts. They're not really paying attention. Attention is a commodity. It's a precious commodity. And when we give that attention to somebody or to something, it's remarkable. It truly is. But these things, as I said, it hijacks it. How does it do that? Because there is an algorithm in place on YouTube. Even this video has an algorithm of sorts. Netflix has an algorithm. We're surrounded by these things, by these screens. And they know exactly what we think we want to watch, want to view. But if you were to swim in that pool, then it could rob you from being an individual. Because if everyone were to think in a certain way or abide by the algorithm, swim in one municipal pool, if you will, then that raw, diverse thoughts, they will edge away. Sometimes we want to say that we are rebels. A lot of artists, a lot of people like the idea of being a rebel. But a lot of times we are conformist. Because if we feed ourselves the same diet of mass media, of social engagement all the time, then that's all that we're going to get. I remember I made a challenge way back when I started this channel about social media and about the algorithm to change things up, to even break the algorithm. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes if I'm watching, say for instance, CNN and NBC, whatever it is, and then I say, you know what? I'm going to watch Fox. I'm going to venture out and watch something else to challenge my worldview. Or if I'm listening to a whole bunch of hip hop music or whatever it is, I'm going to challenge myself to get outside of my sphere of influence and listen to something else. I remember doing this a while back. A friend of mine, he's really into Radiohead. I have no idea who Radiohead is, but because he was into it, I gave it a listen. I could have said, no, I'm not into that kind of music. And I could have just stayed in my comfort zone. But I said, I'll go out and listen. What did I do? I played the entire album from start to finish, just to see what has lit his soul on fire. Did I like it? I appreciated it. The same thing that goes with another artist. What's her name again? Taylor Swift. Remember that? I said, how come people are so crazy about her? What did I do? I listened to the entire album. I do this from time to time because I don't want to be pigeonholed. I don't want to stay the way that I am and just continue just the same feed all of the time. Sometimes we have to be uncomfortable in order to grow, in order to really listen in to somebody. I remember at one of my workplaces, I brought along a notebook every day to my workplace. I challenged myself, for 1 year, I'm going to write an original story. So every single day, I jotted something down. I looked at people. I paid attention to the people coming in and out of the building. I wondered what their life story was about. Sometimes I'll ask questions. Sometimes I would just look at somebody's hat, and that hat will give me a story. There's somebody at my workplace. It doesn't matter the time of year. Now, she's a stranger. I've never spoke to her before, but she has on these earmuffs, winter earmuffs. And I'm thinking, is she going to be wearing these winter earmuffs right through the summer? And yeah, she did. There's a heat wave going on in Ottawa, and the same girl was wearing these winter earmuffs. That's a story. Sometimes we may miss these type of things because I guess we're too busy scrolling through our phones that we miss it. But that right there is a story, and it's there for the taking. I remember this one time I was on the bus and I wasn't scrolling through my phone, and this gigantic, huge man walked in on the bus. He was massive. His muscles were bulging out of his neck. And he had on a gigantic crucifix. And his eyes, this man's eyes looked mean and vicious, like he wanted to rip somebody apart. And he was sitting right across from me. But back in those days, I didn't have a smartphone. So I had to pay attention. And so I took out my notepad and I made sure I wasn't looking at him because I didn't want to get ripped apart. But I started writing a story about him, about his gigantic muscles and his huge crucifix that probably cost a fortune. That right there was a story. Why? Because I paid attention. Are you paying attention? There's another type of attention that, rather than looking out at the lenses towards other people, look inside. When we do this, what I mean by looking inside, pay attention to our own thoughts, to what's going on with our emotions. Our emotions and everything else can tell a story. We could be almost like in a way, lab rats. we could we could dissect ourselves objectively. What I mean by this is when you're in a situation and you feel anger, you feel betrayal, you feel bitterness, have that one part of you that's watching, silently watching, observing, and taking notes. Feel what it is to have anger. What does that mean when you feel anger? What part of your body do you feel it in? When you feel joy, when you feel whatever the emotion is, take a note of it. Go a little bit outside of yourself. In that way, you could experience it in a fuller, richer way. Then, with all of that experience, your characters will come to life. The deeper your observations, the deeper your characters will be, the more believable they'll be. Rather than just saying that this person is angry or this person is sad, what does anger really mean? When you're in a coffee shop, rather than getting on your phone as a writer, don't do that. At least just put it aside for a while. And be a sponge. Listen in almost to the way that people interact with each other. If there's an argument in a restaurant, see how that plays out. Because if you could examine that fully, that argument, that tension inside of you and inside of somebody else, you could articulate it, then you'll make incredible characters. In the morning, when you see the sun shining in at 8 in the morning on the kitchen table, figure out how does the light cast on the table? In which direction does it go in? Those details makes a story come alive. Don't just say it's a cold day in your story or this lady is beautiful in the story. Don't just say that. What does beauty mean? What does all of that mean? And once you could identify it fully and deeply, then you have a great story on your hand. A writer is not just a person that's just writing words together. We could have a whole bunch of words right now. If you wanted to, you could go out and you could find facts and you could find details because of everything that we have. But a writer is more than that. A writer creates the sensory. He or she makes you feel, makes you smell, makes you touch, makes you believe the impossible. So that's what we need to do. Make sure that we're not just looking outward as well, but we're looking inward. This cup right over here, do you see that? This was made by the Dalit people in India. I was given this cup many, many years ago. And I had it on my shelf because I said, there may be a story there. This is about paying attention to the small things. As you probably know, the Dalit people in India, there's around 250 million of them. And they're not a part of the caste system. They're being treated poorly, brutally over many, many years. And when they make these, now this is a lot of history involved in this cup, because the Dalit people, they're not allowed to associate with the other classes of society, the caste system. So when they were to get chai tea, for instance, the people will make these little cups, and they're supposed to take the cup and dash it on the ground so that it would not spread amongst the other elite people. I remember hearing about this a long time ago, and I said, hey, there's a story there. So we could focus on things. The more that we focus on something, the more stories are developed. We don't have to wait for those big moments. I remember a while back when I saw incredible disasters and I said, I should be inspired to write about this, or something amazing, something remarkable, even in a positive way. And then I sit down and I say, I'm going to write about that, but nothing comes to mind. We wait for the big moments, but then we could also look at the small moments, like this cup, or other things in your environment. Go on a walk. I did this just the other day ago. There's a beautiful area called the Winding Way that's close to where I live. And I went there and I just walked and I saw incredible things. And the more that you focus on what we may think is the mundane, the ordinary, becomes extraordinary. There's some writers that feel that they need to go on a safari or to France or to other places, other remote places around the world to find inspiration. You could find inspiration where you are even right now. As I said to my son when he was very young, when him and I went to the grocery store or wherever we went, I said, Elijah, look around you. There's millions of things here to talk about. If you're open to it, there's millions of things even in your environment right now. You just need to open your eyes a little bit more. Now, I challenge you, throughout this video, have you noticed anything peculiar? Did you notice my shirt? How many times have I changed my shirt during the course of this video? Let me know in the comments if you were paying attention. If you weren't, shame on you. Just go back and watch the video again. Don't worry, I fall into this as well. So I need to learn to pay close attention. That's about it for me. By the way, I spoke about an algorithm. I'm going to be doing a special episode coming up later this month on my podcast. It's called Welcome to Earth Stories. It's an audio fiction. Now, the almighty algorithm is going to be about paying attention to social media, culture as well, and a whole bunch of other things in society, but with a sci-fi twist. And I don't want you to miss it. You could go to welcometoearthstories.com and it would take you to the different places that you could subscribe to the audio channel. That's about it for me. Thank you very much for giving me your undivided attention. I definitely appreciate it. This is York, and I'll talk to you soon.